that like got eliminated. I just have 2 that I like really, really did bad at. Ninth out of 9. Yikes, dude. No one talk about that. No one leaked that I got dead last at a league challenge. 16th out of 19. What was I doing? Oh my god. Hello everyone and welcome back to YouTube. My name is Rahul and you are watching my channel. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the love shown on the video I did Friday about the travel tips. I didn't know how it would be received. I just kind of threw out all the information I had that I kind of use typically. And it really worked out. So I wanted to do another video today to kind of continue that segment of people who are coming into the in-person play, people who are kind of uncertain about, can I qualify for the World Championships? What kind of things should I expect at every level of competition here and there? So this is kind of your one-stop guide to events that are championship points related, from league challenges all the way to the World Championships. What can you expect? What should you prepare for? What are costs like? At the time I'm recording this, Andrew Mahone, aka Tricky Jim, put out this really nice video as well. So if you want to check his out as well, I will have a link to it in the description below. Really great guy, really amazing information. But I wanted to do mine as well to kind of show you guys. And towards the end of the video, if you want to skip towards there, I will compare it to my season, wherein it ended, how I was doing, and the kind of events I went to in that 6-month, I guess, time frame leading up to the pandemic and with the time we have left. So let's just jump right into it. So the championship point season is coming back. That does mean you guys have, and I will preface this by saying, if you are coming in as someone with 0 championship points and want to try to qualify for the World Championships, it's going to be very unrealistic. It's going to be very difficult given the number of weekends that actually exist, the number of weekends you actually have. Yes, if you had a couple more weekends, I think that you'll be okay. But given that the first regionals back will be in the middle of March, I would expect that other events will start typically around the middle of March, maybe early March. I think that's probably the time frame they're trying to look forward to, kind of pick up exactly where we left off, honestly, 2 years ago. So given that time frame, July 1st or whenever North American International Championships is, will be the last weekend to earn championship points. If you're doing the math, that's not that many weekends. You got March, April, you got the end of March, April, June. I missed May. Oh no. But that's it. You got about 3.5 months. But that's it. So 3.5 months is not that many weekends given everything you need to do. But we're going to talk about how to kind of get there if you want to, and what you should look forward to for upcoming seasons, and just kind of what to expect for events in general. So the Pokemon Championship circuit is consisting of 6 major events: League Challenges, League Cups, Special Events, Regional Championships, International Championships, and finally, the creme de la creme, the fruit that everybody wants to compete in, the World Championships. Now, before I jump into things, there are 3 age divisions: the juniors, the seniors, and the masters age division. You can find where you are seated in when you look up where you are, that kind of stuff. If you aged up, it is on your account. You'll know where it is based on your age. You will only compete against people of your own age division. At smaller events, there is a chance you will play against people of other divisions, but you will only be placed within your own division. So if you are one of 2 seniors, they will probably put you up into the masters division to kind of get that, number going, so you guys still get some games in. But you and the other seniors' record will be the only thing considered. If you're the only senior, congrats, you won, but you still have to play your 5 rounds. So, yeah. So here we go. There needs to be a certain number of attendance for a kicker. So that's what kickers are, as we talk about that throughout the video. I'm going to do a little bit of like terminology here so we can kind of use that terms as we go through the video. Kickers are simply what threshold gets hit depending on attendance number. And so that's kind of what we need for some bigger kicker numbers to kind of get those like pity championship points, if you will. Each championship series has an event called a best finish limit. A best finish limit will count your best finishes towards that limit, as it obviously says. So if you have, let's say the limit for, I'll just make something up. For internationals is 2, and you played in 3 and got like 3rd, 4th, and then maybe like 87th. Your 87th will no longer be counted. It'll be discounted. It will count towards stipends towards that quarter, depending on what that BFL for that stipends is in that quarter. But that number will kind of just be like, it's just gone. And I'll show you what that means when I get towards the end, where I'll show you my profile page and what kind of things have been just like off the, So Yeah, and to be eligible for championship points and play points, you must have a registered player ID attached to your Pokemon Trainer Club account and must opt into the Play Pokemon program. This is pretty easy to do. You just got to go through the process and get it done. I would highly recommend doing it if you have not done so, and connecting it to your main account that you use for PTCGO, because that will probably be the account used for live. I don't know if we'll have any online events during live, but just in case, I want to make sure like you cover your bases. You know, like I don't want there to be some sort of a like League Cup online or a special event done online like a Players Cup, and your account is not linked. That would just be kind of a disaster. So we'll start with League Challenges. League Challenges are the bare bones smallest thing that you can probably play in. That's not a locals. This is like effectively a locals actually. Like we'll call it as a locals with points. League Challenges can be any day of the week, any time of the week. So you can have a League Challenge at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday theoretically. Obviously, your organizers don't want that to happen because League Challenges are kind of like to support the local audience. For example, one of my like local League Challenges that may or may not still be happening is at a burger joint at Fridays at like 6:30 p.m. So I would come back when I moved back home. I came straight from work. I'd get a burger and maybe some wings, and I would be eating while filling out my deck list, which is, I don't know, kind of funny. But everyone loved it. We would get like 20 people. It was a lot of fun. Now, League Challenges also have a best finish limit of 8 per year, which means your best 8 League Challenges will count. That means if you win 8, that is 90 points. It is very hard to do, but it is doable. League Challenges are any day of the week. So if you are looking for Worlds, this is one of the events that I think you need to prioritize coming in at 0, because this is one of those events where it's like every penny counts kind of thing, where we're trying to get to that 500 number at the end of the year. And if you can win these 8, or even get second at these 8, or even top 4 these 8, that's a lot of points. You're getting 80 to 100. Wait, I might have done some math wrong, actually. It's 120. I did math wrong. 8 times 15 is 120. Okay, never mind. But still, that's a lot of points. So you're getting between 80 and 120 points overall if you fill all your 8 of your kickers. Now, if you're doing this over the course of a full year, it makes a lot more sense to kind of, take a Thursday evening after work to do something like this, but it does start getting taxing. Typically, I wouldn't expect more than, 15, 20 people at a league challenge, so this 24 number usually doesn't get hit unless you're going to a weekend one or something where it's like connected to a regionals, or there's a League Cup later in the day where there's like a double header, just because league challenges are just like, the bottom of the ladder. So it's more so where your competitive players have already come, they've already probably gotten their points from these events. So you're not really, going up against the top brass. Every store, every league can kind of hold one. So there should be a lot. You should have a lot in your area, unless like you're in an area that's starved for leagues and gameplay in general. But like a lot of areas just have them. Typically, like you could find 2 to 3 a week. Usually, if you look, the event locator will be your best friend when things start coming back. Yeah. So what to expect is simply just go. It's only Swiss rounds. There's never a top cut. So you'll play 5 rounds of Swiss, maybe 4 rounds of Swiss, and whatever the final standings is at the end of those 4 to 5 rounds, that is what it is. So even if you are 4-0 and someone else is 4-0, whoever's resistance is better is the winner. That is as simple as it is. There's no top cut, and that's what it is. And prizing is probably not the best, and I don't fault them. A lot of times league challenges are like $4 or $5, and you get like a pack on entry, and then they'll do like 2 or 3 packs at the end, and that's typically the kind of stuff I've been to. Nothing crazy, right? Like you're already getting your $4 to $5 pack on the entry, right? So it's not like there's something more to be playing for. So this is your like easiest level of play, in my opinion, for competitive. Should be a fun, more relaxed atmosphere while still being competitive. So hit up some league challenges when you come back, kind of see the atmosphere. This is a great chance to also get to know your local group, because these are probably the people that live nearby you see very often. So when we start getting towards regional championships, you could make some friends, some connections that can help you save costs as you go along. Now, League Cups are one step up. League Cups are kind of your real indicator of people are going to travel for this. People are going to come from outside the area. I traveled as far as 3 hours for League Cups. There would be times where I'd drive 2 to 3 hours north and I'd hit Celio's Network, Mike Fouché, some of the New York guys. Like, you will see people traveling for League Cups because they are so sparse. League Cups are awarded to leagues that have been holding their league challenges diligently, as well as holding league diligently. But over the pandemic, I don't know who lost their League Cups, to be completely honest. But League Cups happen on weekends only, usually. There's like very occasional like Friday cups, but that's because like they're doing some sort of like a 3-day like bender in the same area. New York is very famous for this. We'll do like 3 cups in Brooklyn, and it'll be like back to back to back days. So it incentivizes people to travel, like myself, who I could just take like, finish up work or something and jump on a like mega bus, and I'm in New York by the end of the day to play. So League Cups can be standard or expanded. Right now we have no expanded regionals, so I'd be very shocked to have any expanded League Cups. Same thing, juniors, seniors, masters, and the winners will get a League Cup playmat that says champion on it. Typically it'll be whatever block or like quarter we're in will be the champion mat. So for example, it'll probably be something like, I don't know, some Evolving Skies related mat right now. And if it was coming up in like the November to February block, it'd be something like something Fusion Strike related. So when we come back, it'll probably be something Diamond, BDSM, BDSP, whatever, like our new Diamond and Pearl set, like whatever that'll be. It'll probably be a mat related to that. Leafeon, Glaceon, Arceus, Darkrai, one of those, First place for these is 50 points. Now, if you're doing the math correctly for me, best finish is 8 per year, all seasons combined. If you win 8 of these and you win 8 league challenges, that's 120 plus 400. This math's easy. I won't mess this up. 520 points. You have now qualified for the World Championships. That's ridiculous. You can do it off of just local events. Now, one, there has to be enough League Cups to play to get there. And each store is, whereas a store is allowed, or like your league is allowed to do a league challenge per month, once per month, they can only do 1 per quarter. And we're going to come in with 2 quarters, like roughly 2 quarters, and one of them is a short quarter. So it'll be a little bit tight, but it's reasonable. So whatever your local store is, you're probably getting 2 cups. Simple as that. But if you perform, it's very rarely done. I think the few people that have like done the 8 and 8 are like Caleb Gettimer and like Jesse Parker, I believe. Maybe a couple others, but I know very few people that have done the full 8 and 8, like winning both. And if you do that, that's very impressive, and you earned your way there. It's as simple as that. But as you can see from just top 4ing League Cups, there's a ton of points to be earned. There's a lot of points to put yourself into a good spot. Now, you'll typically hit this like 24 number at a lot of League Cups. I don't know how COVID restrictions will be handled for a lot of League Cups specifically. But after that 24 number, hitting these like kickers is a little bit harder, and League Cups specifically will have top cut. So if you're going to a League Cup, expect to be there for 5 to 6, maybe 7 Swiss rounds into a top cut. You need to be X1 to probably ID into top cut. IDing means intentionally drawing. So if you're not at that level, you could probably drop and go do something else with your day. If you're starting 02, 03 maybe, you're at a position where there's nothing else going on. Typically they'll start early on a weekend. Or late evening on a weekend. So either you have something to do in the morning or you have something to do in the evening. My Florida Cups used to start in the evening a lot of the time. So I'd get up, get some schoolwork done when I was in college, and I'd head over to the Cup by like 2 p.m., get some lunch, and I'd play, and then I'd be home by night. Or you'd have a morning Cup, or if you do bad, you can drop and you're home by like, I don't know, noon. But League Cups will typically take up that half to 3/4 of your day, depending on how deep you go into the tournament. League Cups are going to be more competitive. People are going to travel, like I said. And I don't know, pat yourself on the back if you can make it to the finals of a League Cup, even top cut of a League Cup. I think pat yourself on the back. It is an accomplishment, especially if you're someone coming in from the online circuit into the newer play. Even if you're someone who's like, don't hold yourself in very high regard. Even if you're someone like myself, give yourself a pat on the back for top cutting a League Cup, because you've done something at least. It is a stepping stone to knowing that you can compete at your local level, going into the bigger level. This is also going to be people that you see at your local level, maybe some people that you typically wouldn't talk to, some people from out of town. It's a good experience to kind of hang out with everyone. Try to make some friends. Everyone's there to compete. Everyone's there to have a good time. Obviously, there's going to be some people who are like not the best of people, but you'll get those vibes pretty quickly. Like for example, one of the League Cups near me is near Rockville, and usually some of the guys, like the local guys who don't travel too much to anything else, we try to make it in the evening and get like ramen or pho, or like there's this boba place right, like a Vietnamese place right next door, and we'll get some boba, and just hang out. It's like a weekend event. It's like you're going out with friends basically, but you're also competing. So have fun with it, enjoy it, know your local stores. Event locators will also be really helpful. As I've mentioned a couple of times already, the number of weekends there's not that many weekends, so it's going to start conflicting with things like regionals. And if your organizers are not very coordinated, you could end up in a situation where multiple League Cups get organized on the same day. in your area, which then makes it really tough on you because, these are your opportunities for the local area. And if you're splitting the audience, yes, one could be easier to win, but you are depraving everyone of a chance to win potentially more. So League Cups, a lot of fun. This is something where it's a less than a day event. You don't have to get hotels or anything. The only time I've ever gotten hotels is when I do like a 3-day thing in like New York, or say, for example, I'm driving to Philly and there's 2 back-to-back there, and I don't want to drive home 3 hours and drive back tomorrow 3 hours or something. I'll get something there or stay with someone. But typically, you don't need to get anything for League Cups. And pricing is all over the place for League Cups. Depends on the entry. I've been to ones where pricing is really, really good. I've been ones where pricing is like a handshake and like 5 packs, and the playmat's guaranteed. But I wouldn't, be pressed about that too much. Regionals. Now, this is what we talked about in the last video. How to travel to these, kind of how to get there. These are your creme de la creme of points. Here's the schedule. These are set in stone. These regional dates. Oh, look, they fixed the Orlando thing. Nice, that's awesome. Here are your set in stone dates. This is like not going to change. So we've got 5-6 months to start planning till everything starts. So if you know you'll live nearby, or if you know you're going to have to go to these, start planning ahead. 6 months is a lot of time to kind of mentally decide if you want to go to some of these things. Financially, I don't know where everyone's going to be in 6 months. That's a very different look, considering the COVID rebound is happening. It's hard to think about. But if you're going to go to some of these, prepare to be, prepare to go. And I wouldn't say like prepare to do well, because regionals are hard. And I'll show you guys my ratings and kind of explain when I got my first Worlds invite versus when I started playing, to kind of put it in perspective for how long it takes you to kind of get to that level. And I do think that level is a little bit lower these days. And I think that's because Pokemon is focusing a lot more on inclusivity to the World Championships. And I think I'm one of those people that thinks if you make it to Worlds, you made it. You did what you had to do that year. Now show your stuff. Like, I'm never someone who's content with just making it to that bar. I want to do something with it, Like, I don't want to just... Qualifying for Worlds is awesome, and it's an accomplishment on its own. But if you don't do something with it, did you really do something with it? It's like making it to the Olympics. Yeah, you're an Olympian, but where's my medal, dog? Yeah, I'm just hard on myself. It's just my mentality. But that being said, sorry for the spiel. Regionals. Let's talk about the points. Now, there is some cash money prizing on the line for regionals, and that is sometimes going to make it worth it for you to go. Don't expect to get paid. I would say just like don't expect the notion of you're going to get money. You'll almost every regionals is going to hit this 200 player mark. I don't think I've ever been to a regionals that has, in the modern era, sorry, let me amend that. I don't think I've been to a regionals since like 2016 that has had below 200 players. So these are the kind of the money payout. Now, I will say that regionals typically have like 600 plus players. So even getting top 32 is a accomplishment in its own right. The booster pack pricing is set in stone. This is what you're going to get regardless of what happens. This is like all Pokemon. This is where like League Cups and League Challenges are store and league officiated. And then you get to the regional level. And it's a very tight guidelines as to how to run these things. VGC has less money on the line, same with Pokemon Go, but they also get trading card game packs, which is interesting to me. And here are the point payout. First place gets 200, second gets 160, third, fourth, 130, fifth, eighth, 100. Now, if you're a newer player, what I want you guys to be focusing on are these pity points here. I'm not going to say that they're like if you're getting to the top 64 or top 32 or above, you're almost certainly making day 2, which means you've got a realistic shot of winning the event. And at that point, you've done a lot, and getting that 60 points plus is like very, very good for your chance of getting a Worlds invite if you've done well enough at local events. Now, you should be aiming for these, because I think this number will get hit a lot. This number I'm not entirely sure about, depending on the location. I think we'll hit that. But it puts you in a position to earn these 40s and 30s that, yes, it's only a second at a League Cup, but if you're traveling all the way out there to get these, that 40 goes into a separate best finish limit where you have 6 best finish limit here. So even if you do that at 1 or 2 regionals, you're picking up 80 points. Maybe if you go to 3 and do that again, 120, which means your burden that comes with doing well at local events is much lower. The burden that you have to put on yourself is much, much lower to qualify for that world championship standard. That being said, what can you expect at a typical regionals day? Now, regionals are 2-day events. I know it says on the schedule, I know there's a lot of confusion that there's like a 3-day schedule listed, but you can quote me on this. Friday is a typical day where there's setup going on. Nothing really happens besides maybe a league challenge will happen, maybe a league cup. There's a lot of side events. There'll be vendors open, and I'm sure a lot of these regionals will bring out some of your favorite content creators. I know Dallas used to bring out Leonhardt. Tricky Jim usually has a booth open for vending, so you can go meet some of your favorite content creators, your favorite people. It's more of a day to come in, kind of get your bearings, figure out what you're going to do the next day, and check in, get your swag for the day. And regionals come with swag bags that have like a drawstring bag, a playmat, a regionals playmat that they've already designated, maybe some dice, a promo card that's already been designated. These have all been ready, like laid out for you. Usually lanyards and stuff too. Like you get these small swag bags for registration. Registration is typically $50. You should keep that in mind when planning for the regionals. Let me kind of lay out what regionals will be like. Regionals registration, $50, $50 to $60. You got to keep that in mind. Early registration is always 50, late is 60. If you know you're going, just do it. $10 is negligible unless you really just don't have the money at the moment. Flight, car. If you're driving, flights. We talked about the flights in the other video, so I'm going to talk about this as if it was a car. We'll do car, $100-ish for gas, whatever, top to the bottom. Hotels, if you're splitting with 3 to 4 people, about $100 also. Food, etc. I don't know how much you eat per weekend. 200 seems reasonable. I don't know what you're eating for $200, but more power to you. So regional weekends are not cheap. I will say that straight up. Regional weekends are not cheap. It is like you are going to a different place. You are going to enjoy something different. But this is where, before you go to regionals, making friends at that local level comes in. Getting friends to take rides with, hotels with, all that kind of stuff will come into play and will help out a lot if you can get those things going. Typically, regionals is best of 3. It's 9 rounds, best of 3 on day 1. And after those 9 rounds of Swiss, it's Swiss rounds, which means you're not eliminated. Same with league challenges and league cups. You can be mathematically eliminated from anything, but you're not eliminated. You can continue to play if you'd like to. There's 9 rounds, best of 3. And after those 9 rounds, best of 3, if you have 19 match points or better, you'll advance to the second day. What that means is you need a win is 3 match points, a tie is 1, a loss is 0, which means at the very minimum, you probably have to go 6 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. Now, even that means you are very mathematically low odds to make it into the top 8 of the event, but that means you're not mathematically eliminated. You still have a chance to make it into the day 2, go 4-1, 4-0-1 even on the second day, and give yourself a shot to win the whole event. I've seen it happen before. I've been in positions where I've tried to make that happen before myself. You're not mathematically eliminated, but it is a 2 to 3 day event. The third day, like I said, is the prep day, so you can come in Friday night. If you live close enough, you can drive in Saturday morning. Saturday night, typically everyone stays near the venue, gets hotels. I've already booked almost all my hotels, like I mentioned in the last video. And you kind of just do that. And then day 2 is for the probably roughly 10% of the field comes back for day 2. If you did not make day 2, there's typically a league cup on the second day, a lot of side events to play, maybe a league challenge as well. So it's not like there's nothing for you to do on the second day if you didn't make it. It's just that you're not competing in the main event anymore. Now, after that, like I mentioned in the other video, if you're booking flights, you kind of want to book. So if you make top 8, you reschedule. And if you make top 8, it usually becomes fine monetarily to reschedule as well. Depending on how important your outside of life thing you have to get back to on that Monday is. If it's just a regular day of school or work, maybe it's okay to, skip a day, take a day off of work, because you made it this far. So that is a typical regional scheduled day. I might have glossed over some things. If there's questions, please leave it in the comments below. There is typically lunch breaks. When you go to regionals, there is typically lunch breaks. So you can be prepared for that. I'm not a huge fan of lunch breaks because it breaks my flow, but there are always, also all these convention centers are reputable convention centers. So I assume there's going to be like a Starbucks nearby or in them, or Starbucks similar like stuff like Caribou Coffee, I think is one. That kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like those small coffee shops that are located in convention centers, specifically like your Jamba Juices, that kind of stuff. So if you show up and you don't mind paying that convention center premium, you'll be okay for food and drink, I guess. I always see a pretty big line at the Starbucks, so I know that happens. And I've been to, personally, Meadowlands, and there's a lot of food options nearby. I've been to Indy. There's a lot of stuff nearby. And I went to college in Orange County for 4 years, so I know there's a ton of stuff nearby. About the other 3, I don't know too much about, but these 3 mainly I can vouch for those. That's what a regionals day looks like. Okay. Special events are, I should have kind of reordered this. Special events are regional level points. They give out regional level points, and they also share a best finish limit with regionals. Now, the difference is special events are typically given to regions that have some sort of restriction or are not big enough to really hold a regionals, so there's no money associated with it. They do not give out the money payout that you see with the regionals. That monetary value we talked about, where we go? It was right here. This money is not given out at special events, but the points is. So if your world's championship goal is on the line, maybe flying out to a special event, making it a vacation, could be a lot of fun. Maybe going to Milan, Italy is something you've always dreamed about doing, and this is your time to go. Now, they're not easier by any means. Depends, I guess, where you're going. They're not easier by any means, because if you go somewhere like Europe, the competition will be similar to a regionals. You could expect to see Tor Reklev, Nico Alabas, Pedro Torres, some of these like top-notch players at Bilbao. Like you will see these guys at these events like regionals. Now, regardless of where you go, the risk posed by going to a special event is that you'll probably have less rounds, and you probably won't hit these kickers. So there's probably less chance for you to get some of these points. Special events are typically one-day events. So as opposed to regionals where you can do both, like come back and play your day 2, it simply will cut straight to a top 8 almost always. So regardless of what happens, like in Bilbao, if there's 500, 600 people, they'll play out their rounds and they'll cut straight to a top 8 a lot of the time. It depends on the organizer. This one looks like they've set up for 2 days, so they're ready to go. But typically most special events, for example, one of the ones I went to in Puerto Rico, pre-pandemic, is one-day event. So you'll start the X rounds of best of 3, you'll finish your rounds of best of 3, and you'll immediately play your top cut. So you probably still plan for like flying in like a Friday, leaving Sunday, but it's less of a hassle and a lot more fun, in my opinion, to go to a special event. Now, internationals are the big daddies of the circuit, in my opinion, besides the World Championships. I love these. There's 4 every year: Latin America, Oceania, Europe, and North America. Latin America was held in Sao Paulo for the past couple years. Oceania was held in either Sydney or Melbourne the last couple years. Europe has been in London, Berlin, and now Frankfurt. And North America has been in Columbus for the last couple years. So these are the big daddies. This is where the big points come in. They're not doing Latin America or Oceania because we already had them on the circuit, but these are 3-day events where it says the 22nd to 24th. These are fully 3-day events. These are not 2-day events like the regionals with a 3rd day tacked on. These are fully 3-day events. You're going to show up. Thursday is usually check-in the day before the event. So Thursday you come, you check in, you grab your swag bag. The swag for these events is typically much, much better than what you would get. If you're someone who likes swag, you get like sleeves, you'll get the exclusive promo. And the promo is the same across all 4. The sleeves are the same across all 4. The mats are the same across all 4. They just typically will say Latin America, Oceania, Europe, something like that on them to signify that they're from one of these 4 comparatively. Now, that being said, Friday will be your first day of competition. It'll be 9 rounds, best of 3 Swiss, similar to a regionals, and very similar to a regionals. You'll once again advance with 19 match points to the 2nd day of competition. The only caveat, there's a lot more players. So it'll be like 1,600. It'll be like 1,000 plus players playing. So it'll be a much bigger field. And yes, still 10% of that field will move on to the 2nd day. And now when you're in the 2nd day, you'll play your remaining games of Swiss, whether it be 5, whether it be 6 if we hit that kicker of Swiss rounds, you'll play your remaining games of Swiss. Now, if you top 8 and top 4 are played in after like an hour break, so they can set up like the stream, they can give you the rundown of what's going on, give you a little bit of chance to get snack. I didn't because I was too nervous the one time I made it. And then you'll play top 8 and you'll play top 4. And they'll usually do each of the games streamed for kind of the audience back home. So you should expect that it'll be a longer day. And as soon as your top 4 match is done, the only thing on that Sunday is Championship Sunday. They will go through every single finals match for every single division. And I assume because there's this many games, they'll do a TCG, VGC, Pokken DX, and Pokemon Go streams. I think maybe Pokken and Go will happen on Saturday for the finals. They typically reserve final Sunday for TCG and VGC. And there'll be an awards ceremony, and then you get to leave. So you could typically book a flight Sunday heading out of a country and be okay with an international flight. But you're going to an international country, so if you're going somewhere like Frankfurt, Germany, I would typically, I've already booked my flights. I'll be leaving here April 19th. So I'll pull up the calendar here in the bottom right corner, kind of. So I'll be leaving here April 19th, landing early Wednesday. So I have all of Wednesday to kind of do whatever. Thursday to do whatever and check in. Friday, I'll be competing. If I make it Saturday, I'll be continuing competing. And if I make it on that off chance to Sunday, I'll really enjoy myself. But if I don't, well, I have the rest of Saturday to kind of explore, spend some time in the city, spend Sunday watching the games because I'm someone who likes to watch the championships games. I think it's just, I'm there for Pokemon. I'd like to experience Pokemon. And then I'm going to go explore the city. And then my flight leaving on the 25th is very late on Monday evening. So I can also, explore the city by that logic. So if you're going out early, take a couple days to kind of explore the city. When I went to Oceania, I did a full week with my significant other at the time. It was a lot of fun. Take some time to experience these international championships. Now, to help you out for international travel, not including the money that gets paid, we'll talk about pricing and points in a second, but awards for travel are also given. There is a stipend quarter. Now, the stipend quarter for European internationals is already closed, so you cannot earn any stipends, any points for this upcoming European internationals. For the North American International Championships, this stipend award will begin on the first day that points can be earned, which means so whenever championship series events come back, until April 24th, 2022, there will be a separate leaderboard for championship points. So on this separate leaderboard, it'll tell you, hey, you've earned X number of points, you're in X standing, which means you can earn a stipend. So if you're in the top 4, these are the money values that you would get for going, or they give you a paid trip. Just never take the paid trip. This is always just far worth it. The paid trip is never worth it. And then if you're in 5th through 16th in TCG or 5th through 8th in VGC, we'll get $1,000. Now that really, really goes a long way if you're a top player. And I don't know, if you kind of pop off at your local scene, you can also qualify, to be completely honest. A lot of players have popped off at their local scenes early quarters, qualified for that stipend, and really made a season out of it. I get that there isn't that much time, and getting $1,000 to go to Columbus, Ohio, is not that appealing. But for the other 3, typically, it'll be good. So considering this, April 24th to North American Internationals, which is June 26th, will be the qualifying stipend for next year's first internationals, which is typically either Latin America or Europe. So that first internationals will, kind of set the pace for the year. So pricing is much, much, much better than a regionals. It's twice. It's just times 2 everything. And the pricing goes down to top 64 as well for money. So here is a chart that you can look at for pricing. It's good. It's good pricing. So it doesn't almost always recoup your international travel, to be fair, but it is something that's worth, taking home and having a tax write-off for. VGC gets half of that again, and same with Go, it looks like. And they also get booster packs just like we do. The championship points are the important part. Let's get into that. So there's a best finish limit of 4 for internationals. There is only 4 internationals, so I mean, it's not very hard to, there is 4, so you have the opportunity to get points at all of 4. Winning is 500 points. That is your Worlds invite. If you win an international championship, you've qualified for the World Championships. Bada bing, bada boom. But even getting top 8 is 250, which is a lot of points. That's half your invite. But if we are being realistic, we're going to have to start looking around here. Now, this number I don't think has ever been hit, the 1600, due to registration caps and stuff. So we're going to look at this 800 number, because both Europe and I believe America will hit this number. So getting top 256 is usually getting to 5 wins. Getting to 5 wins and not 4 losses, 5 wins and a combination of some sort of loss tie record. Now, if you can get to that point in a 9-round best of 3, you can pick yourself up 80 points, which means we get 80 points here, 80 points from regionals. That's 160. All you have to do is get 340 from local events. It's achievable. It's not out of the realm of possibility, is how I'll put it. It is hard, but it is achievable. Internationals give so many points that it makes it worth it. My significant other at the time, she managed to get top 128 at Oceania, giving her 100 points, putting her at about half of a Worlds invite. It makes a huge difference when you're looking at the grand scheme of things. 100 points is a fifth of your invite. That is winning 2 League Cups, which is still, again, there's only 1 winner here. So keep that in mind when you go to internationals. I would suggest preparing accordingly, rooming with people, Airbnbs. There's typically a lot of stuff in the area, the venue. I've already booked my Europe hotel. I've not booked my Columbus hotel. But you shouldn't have too much trouble with any of that kind of stuff. Also, Columbus is pretty easily accessible, so I expect to see a lot of you there. Worlds. The World Championships, here are the points required to qualify. Now, we'll talk about what that means, what a day of Worlds typically looks like. This is a 4-day Worlds, so I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can for what I think is going to be day 3, because that's kind of a question right now for everybody. So, based on your rating zone, obviously, Here we are. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, day 2 invitations. What are day 2 invitations? The top 16 players from the US-Canada zone, 22 from Europe, 8 from Latin America, and 8 from Oceania, and some from Japan and Korea, given their own invite system, will be sent with the similar top 4 travel award pricing we talked about for an international stipend. This monetary value right here will be paid out to these players. So it's a hefty chunk of money, and you'll be automatically given a buy into the day 2. There will also be players that earn invites to the day 2 without a travel award. It said that here somewhere, I think. Yeah, okay. So there will be some sort of a caveat for points given if you qualify by a certain point number and make it to that day 2 as well. So what does that mean? Worlds is a 4-day event. Now, 4 days is the first time that's ever happened in World Championship history. Typically, it'll be a 3-day event that will mirror our international structure that we talked about. And unlike the internationals and regionals, Worlds Day 1 is not a full-on Swiss event. It is a full-on Swiss event, but there are some caveats to this, and I will say this. So if we're following the pattern, Wednesday would be check-in. Wednesday, you come in, you check in, you grab your stuff, you get your swag bag. The World Swag Bag is one of the coolest things in my opinion. Fully savor and enjoy that experience if you qualify. Even to this day, this will be my 5th World Championships in London, and I still get butterflies when I pick up my World Championship bag. It's the moment you know you made it. It's that feeling, you know, you get your stuff and you're like, hey, this says competitor on it. This says I made it, and it's just an incredible, incredible feeling. And so don't let anyone take that away from you. If you're a day 1 contestant, typically your deck list will be due between 4 and 8 p.m. on that Wednesday. It'll be online, so you don't have to do anything else. But by 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, you'll have to turn in a deck list, which means you have the rest of the night to kind of question your decision or relax and take it off until, we show back up Thursday morning to play. Thursday morning will typically be the opening ceremony, my favorite part of the event. Kind of show up 30 to 40 minutes early when the venue opens so you can get an actual good seat or you're going to be standing. Opening ceremony will typically reveal a new mechanic. We just saw the V-Star mechanic get revealed. That's one of those trailers that typically would have been shown at the World Championships, and we'd have our top brass at Pokemon creatures kind of come talk about it and what that means. And they'll show something from VGC as well, typically. I'm sure they would have kept some sort of an Arceus trailer or something like that for Worlds this year, but it'll typically be a very fun display. Then if you're in the day 1 of the World Championship, you're immediately thrust into this field. Well, you gotta win a certain number of games, whatever it be. If it's 9 rounds, you gotta win 7. If it's 8 rounds, you gotta win 6. If it's 7 rounds, you gotta win 5. Basically, you gotta go X2. X being the number of wins you need based on the number of rounds you have. 2 losses is all you can afford, or ties, I guess. The caveat I mentioned earlier, it is elimination. So once you hit that 3rd loss, once you hit that 1 tie, 2 losses, that kind of record, you are eliminated from the World Championships. It is a brutal road. It is hard. I myself have, lost on the first day of the World Championships and gone back to my hotel and, cried a little bit because it's hard. You've worked all year to get where you are, and only one world champion can exist, is how I'll put it. So it's a hard day, and there will be only a handful of players that make it to the second day. Now, on that second day, you'll have your players that have already qualified based on the championship points they have, based on leaderboards that are ready and waiting. You'll join these players, and you will get to change your deck. If you want to change your deck between day 1 and day 2 of the World Championships, you are allowed to. So you can go back to your hotel, figure it out, and it's not due that night. It'll be due typically 7 or 8 a.m. the morning of, which is now Friday, I believe. So Friday, we will then play our Swiss rounds out. You, again, can be eliminated off the bat. I don't know how they're going to do Friday this year, but typically it's been Swiss rounds into top cut on the same day, like an internationals would be done on the second day. But with a day 3 inclusion, it makes me believe that we will have enough people to potentially have a 6-2-1 record pushing you into tomorrow, or another elimination-based day. Or there'll be a lot of eliminations based on an X2 record or something. And then day 3 is a question mark, but all I know for certain is day 4 will be a championship. So whenever we get information on day 3, I will, talk about that whenever we get that information, because it's very, very relevant to me specifically. So yeah, but obviously this is all information. If you can get to the World Championships, the big goal for you guys watching this video is to qualify. That is all you need to do. Think about qualifying. Think about learning. Use this experience for the next couple months. So now let's talk about my page and what I kind of did to get where I needed to be. Also, to put in perspective, I started right before Nationals in 2011. My first World Championship I qualified for was 2016. Yes, I didn't play too much when I was in high school because I didn't have the means to travel and there wasn't that many events. But it took me a long time to be where I am as a player. So I wouldn't be hard on yourself if you don't make it to the World Championships, even if you see people around you making it. It is not, yeah. And also, one sec before I go into that, World Championships typically has something called the Open, which is a regionals at the World Championships. So if you're coming to just hang out and spectate, or you get knocked out on the first day, you have a chance to compete in the Open, which gives you, it's a regionals. But if you think about it this way, some of the top players in the world are playing in World still, and they won't be able to stop you. So it's your best chance to win a bunch of points before the next season starts. So you can kind of put yourself in a great spot to start the 2022-2023 season. Yeah, it's just a regionals that happens there. And, you know, that one's just Swiss, no top cut. So as of this point, I have 929 points. I know what you're thinking. Rahul, what the hell? Share some with us. The answer is no. Get your own points. So we can kind of talk about what I did to kind of get where I am. I went to 2 international championships. I went to both. I went to the first one in Latin America. There were 756 players in Sao Paulo, and I finished 30th. 30th is an incredible result. And look at how many points I earned. Had I not, been getting as many points as I needed, look at how many points I picked up. I finished 145th out of 407 in Australia with a top 128 point kicker. I was a little bit off the cusp. I did finish with the record required, but I was on the bubble because I started with a very terrible. I started like 03. So I kind of rallied back and it didn't get there. So monetarily, these were both expensive trips, but I had earned a stipend for both of these. So the money kind of evened out across the board. I earned travel award for one of these, I believe, too. So I was like, I had money to go. They gave me money. League challenges. I've earned 103 of the maximum 120 points. You can always look here and see like, okay, but it shows you exactly what you did. A league challenge with 1, 2, 3 wins. 1, 2, 3. Oh wow, I don't have any that like got eliminated. I just have 2 that I like really did bad at. 9th out of 9. Yikes, dude. No one talk about that. No one leaked that I got dead last at a league challenge. 16th out of 19. What was I doing? Oh my god.